provided by Thomas Allgeier and Frennis, based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about account-based marketing in CW5001. Frennis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI.
You know, it's really clear from the conversations over the last few weeks that ABM as a simple bolt-on tactic is basically finished.
Right.
The whole dialogue on LinkedIn has shifted. It's not seen as a marketing experiment anymore, but as this evolving full-scale revenue operating system.
That sentiment really confirms what we're seeing. B2B teams are getting, ruthlessly serious about their go-to-market strategy heading into the new year. The stakes are just higher.
The tolerance for vanity ABM is zero.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, our mission is to cut through all that noise and distill the absolute top ABM trends. We're focusing on how the really sophisticated teams are unifying strategy, data, and execution to drive, measurable, predictable growth right now.
Let's unpack that. That idea of infrastructure for predictable growth is key.
Agreed. Let's start with strategy and planning.
Okay, so Vincent Plassard and Davis Potter, they both articulated this strategic shift really well. They're saying ABM is being reframed. It's revenue infrastructure or an account investment strategy.
So it's more permanent.
It implies permanence. The whole psychology is moving past just running campaigns and toward building a cohesive system that funnels investment to the accounts that truly matter.
That's a huge psychological shift. And it immediately highlights this need for commitment, for realism over just ambition. Sonesh Prakash shared this classic anecdote that just perfectly illustrates what happens when ambition punishes the unprepared.
Oh, is this the $5 million revenue goal story?
That's the one. Sonesh described a CEO who was just completely misaligned, demanded $5 million in new revenue from ABM in 6 months.
And their ACV was what, 25 to 40K?
Exactly, with a sales cycle that was already 6 to 9 months long.
You don't need a calculator to know that math just doesn't work. To hit $5 million, they'd need to close, over 125 deals in half a year?
At a speed that completely contradicted their established process. It was a failure of strategic planning. The CEO's enthusiasm wasn't grounded in their actual GTM architecture.
And the real danger there is that these failures, which are really failures of alignment, they get blamed on the ABM concept itself.
Or worse, on the talent running the program.
And that's the quick death of an ABM program. But, when the strategy is sound, the focus shifts to motion. Devjit San and Brandon Redlinger both stress this. ABM has to shift from being passive.
Just waiting for signals.
Right, waiting for high-intent signals to just pop up. It has to be a proactive motion, acting on early intent and aligning with the account stage right now.
You just can't afford to wait for demand to fully mature in a target account. You have to influence them before they even hit that ready-to-buy stage.
If you're reactive, you're competing. If you're proactive, you're shaping the demand.
And to shape demand, you have to be creative. Renee Miller emphasized this. She said creativity and differentiation are not optional extras anymore. They're fundamental, especially with content.
Well, yeah, because everyone has access to the same generative tools. We have to avoid what Stefan Rippin called automating garbage faster.
The zombie effect.
The zombie effect is real. If your AI content is generic and repetitive, you're just contributing to the noise. The market is absolutely demanding quality over volume now.
And that high bar for quality leads directly into our second theme. Data, intent, and targeting. The whole conversation around targeting is moving beyond the ICP.
Exactly. Mies and Cosby really championed the shift from an ideal customer profile, which is often just built on assumptions about who you want to sell to.
Right, the wish list.
To a best customer profile, a BCP. And that's fundamentally grounded in your CRM reality. The BCP tells you who is actually profitable and, frankly, easy to work with.
Okay, but that sounds great on paper. But creating a BCP, that sounds like a monumental task. It requires absolute alignment.
It does, and that's why it's so powerful. It forces that collaboration.
Yeah.
You construct the BCP by pulling a raw list of all your customers and then ranking them with data points from all over.
From where, for instance?
Well, you need data from finance, looking at profitability, lifetime value. You need data from customer success, NPS scores, expansion potential, low ticket volume, and critically, you need sales data win rates, fast closing times.
So the BCP shifts accountability. Finance owns the profitability, sales owns the velocity, and marketing acts as the integrator. That changes the whole definition of a good account.
It really does. But
Yeah.
even when you have that perfect BCP, you still have to deal with the volatility of the signals you're chasing. Gil Alouche raised a major red flag on this.
Oh, this was about the bots, right?
Yes, he warned that more than 30% of standard third-party intent signals might be coming from bots, especially with all the AI crawlers out there now.
That is deeply concerning for any team spending 6 or 7 figures on intent platforms. It makes you ask, are our sales reps just chasing ghosts?
So what signals can we actually trust? I think we have to pivot to underutilized signals that offer verifiable internal context. Tyler Pleiss brought up a fascinating one.
Which was
Closed lost opportunities. They're an incredibly reliable source for early ROI. He cited data from Clary showing that B2B customers averaged 7 lost opportunities before they actually bought.
7 times. They said no 7 times before they finally said yes. That statistic is a game changer. It means that past engagement, even failed engagement, isn't a dead end.
It's a goldmine of context. It fundamentally changes the strategy. You should be putting significant ABM budget into nurturing those closed lost accounts, not just top of funnel.
And Richard Vanderbloom noted another hugely valuable but overlooked signal.
Let me guess, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Teams are spending a fortune on intent tools while totally ignoring thousands of followers on their own company pages. That's free, observable intent.
It's about leveraging the assets you already own. We saw a great example of this from Joel Tham, who shared the MasterCard story. They used ZoomInfo intent data to shift a major renewal strategy.
What did they find?
They found these signals of distress, pain points they weren't expecting. So they successfully pitched new products to solve those new problems and secured the renewal. That's diagnostic intent at its best.
I found this next point really relevant, especially for teams dealing with all that data noise. The actual speed of research is changing so fast, the barrier between data and action is collapsing.
Yes, the new Clay integration with ChatGPT. David Emmanuel Morera and Fabian Ignacio Malpartida Negron were highlighting this. It's just streamlining the whole research process.
It's compressing the entire cycle. Reps can now access premium GTM data, run AI research, and draft deeply personalized outreach, all from inside the ChatGPT interface.
Think about that workflow. No more toggling between LinkedIn, your CRM, ZoomInfo, your email tool. The ability to ask, research, personalize, and act instantly in one place makes high-quality ABM so much more efficient.
And that efficiency moves us straight into activation, personalization, and timing. If the data gives us the perfect target, the next question is, how do we activate them without triggering that immediate vendor filter?
Well, the first step is defining what effective personalization even is. Arpaguna Priyadarshini said it has to be mirroring the prospect's real pain points, not just token customization.
Right, nobody cares about their job title and the subject line anymore.
Exactly. You have to show you understand their budget crisis or their hiring struggle. Apoma shared this fantastic success story that proves it. Her campaign used AI to analyze prospect content, created tailored challenges slides for each company, and then pitched their pain back to them with startling clarity.
And the results?
The results speak for themselves. 8 out of 12 execs replied, 5 booked calls, and 1 deal closed in just 14 days.
14 days. That is the velocity you get when you hit the right person with the absolute right, relevant message.
And that success really highlights the massive role of timing. Brennan Redlinger emphasized this point. Hitting the right account at the wrong time does nothing.
The content has to align perfectly with their stage. Are they in awareness, consideration? Are they ready to buy?
And operationalizing this timing component delivered huge wins for Ganesh Chithambalam AS at Product. They used RecoTap to segment accounts in the awareness stage versus those truly ready to buy.
The outcome was powerful. A 66% drop in cost per lead and an 80% increase in account reach, just by matching the message to the timing.
You know, before we leave execution, we have to talk about that tactical detail Kate Veselenko shared about email psychology. It's one of those little nuggets that really sticks with you.
It's brilliant. She shared a study that showed a personalized email using a simple embedded hyperlink had a 48% higher click-through rate than one with a big traditional CTA button.
The psychology is so simple. The big bright button instantly triggers that vendor filter. It feels transactional.
But a simple hyperlink in a sentence, especially from an executive, feels like a natural suggestion. It's low friction. It avoids that instant sales trap.
It's the difference between a neon sign screaming BYNOW and a friend quietly recommending a relevant article.
Huge difference. On the channel front, the consensus, advocated by Sam Borst and Justin Rowe, seems stable. Google ads for demand capture,
when they're actively searching.
and LinkedIn ads for demand generation and air cover, building awareness before the search even starts.
And Sam Bors had a great tactical tip for those LinkedIn campaigns. Target small, tight groups, think 50 target accounts.
Yeah.
But with high frequency, aiming for 7 to 10 touches per person in a short period.
So the goal isn't broad reach, it's saturation. Building brand recall with a very specific buying committee.
That high-frequency saturation strategy absolutely requires internal cohesion, which brings us to our final theme: operating model, alignment, and measurement.
Alignment. It's still the biggest hurdle. Karina Owen stressed the non-negotiable need for clear service-level agreements, SLAs, and strong feedback loops that leadership actually enforces.
And Nick Bennett, who's implemented ABM for over 15 companies, confirmed that quality always beats quantity. Focusing on 25 meticulously selected accounts consistently outperforms spreading efforts across 500.
And he said sales, marketing, and ops must pick those accounts together from the start.
That need for unity is just amplified by the complexity of the modern buying journey. Victoria Frederica A. noted what she called the AI buying paradox.
Right, decisions are made faster, but the buying groups have more people, 10 or more.
It's a huge paradox. More cooks in the kitchen, but they're moving quicker.
So your GTM team can't just rely on influencing one champion anymore. They have to orchestrate content for the entire buying group simultaneously, providing, as Thorstein Nordby detailed, role-specific content for the champion, the budget holder, legal, everyone.
And when it comes to measurement, Alexander Atanasov noted the definitive shift. The focus has to move from internal vanity metrics like MQLs to revenue creation. That's the anchor.
And Emilia Korchinska explained how to make that actionable. You have to reverse engineer everything, the pipeline needed, the ACV, the contact volume, all backwards from the final revenue goal.
You know, we have to end this section on a critical, almost painful warning from Davis Potter. A poorly designed ABM program can create lasting negative perception.
Both with the sales team and with the customers who are targeted generically.
That failure can damage everything. Amanda Heredia saw this happen firsthand. An ABM program was killed because leadership defaulted back to old lead volume targets. And they blamed the talent, not the broken GTM architecture that was set up to fail.
If you measure ABM success by MQL volume, you are guaranteed to fail the revenue test.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on, and it builds on everything we've just discussed about infrastructure and collaboration.
Go for it.
Josh Schulman noted that the greatest indicator of a healthy GTM team across marketing, sales, CS, product, it's not revenue, it's trust velocity. Dysfunction in revenue teams fundamentally stems from a lack of trust between these departments.
That's a deep insight. He had two key leading indicators of churn risk that have nothing to do with the product itself. First, customer time to value exceeds their expectations. That's a bad handoff.
And the second?
The second is when customers start asking you for updates instead of providing updates on the status quo.
That anxiety. It's a huge sign that your internal lack of cohesion and your poor execution speed has translated directly into customer fear and uncertainty.
So, if ABM success relies on BCPs built on financial reality and hyperrelevance achieved through mirroring pain and timely execution, we have to ask ourselves, is our internal alignment creating the confidence and trust needed to make our buyers feel safe enough to commit? That level of trust velocity, internally and externally, that's the real work. If you enjoyed this deep dive, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also check out our other editions on field marketing, channel and partner marketing, AI and B2B, MarTech go-to-market, and social selling.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the latest trends shaping the account-based marketing ecosystem.
Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive.